Hey there, welcome to Craft Central Designs. Look what I have to share with you today. I transformed ordinary clay pots into really adorable gift ideas, or perhaps just decor for your own home. I am just loving these clay pot plant holders, and they are just so easy to make and so much fun to create, and such a great personalized gift idea. Come with me while I show you how I created these oh so cute clay pot transformations. Welcome to all to my channel today. If you are not currently a subscriber, I hope you will consider becoming one, and as well set the notification bell so you may be notified when I upload a tutorial, which I typically do 2 to 3 times a week. Also, please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy this tutorial, and as always, I love receiving your comments. Let me know which one of these is your favorite, or perhaps how you would create your clay pot transformation. Okay, let's get busy. I went ahead and sprayed my clay pots. And I just obviously took them outside and gave them a spray. I didn't think it was necessary for me to show you that. We all can spray paint. But I went ahead and I did all 3 at the same time. I also have here some plastic pots with the drainage tray. I think it's a good idea to put another pot inside of this, just because you go to all the effort to create this piece and you don't want any dirt in there. At least I wouldn't. So I just provide the interior pot. And I also provided the plants. So as you could see. Okay, now as far as the fabric, I chose my fabrics. I wanted them to be busy. Okay, because of the work that you have to do to fit that fabric on that pot. It's best if you have a busy fabric, at least for the bottom part of the pot. Now I'm showing here all different options, from watermelons to florals to polka dots to paisleys. It is just so much options, so many options. Now, I love the Waverly fabrics that they have at Walmart. You can find the smaller pieces of fabric, so you don't have to stand in line and have someone cut it for you, or, you don't have to buy a big piece. You could just buy the fat quarters. And I'll give you some dimensions on those pieces of fabric. You don't need a lot to cover this pot. You also can pick up those fat quarters at Hobby Lobby, another option. So I'm showing you here a number of trims, different types of trims. Everything from a little tiny pom-pom trim to rickrack. I am going to be embellishing my pots, and I'll show you exactly how I do that. You're also going to want to have some ribbons if you want to put a bow in the arrangement, whatever you want to call it. We're putting a plant in there, so I guess you could call it an arrangement. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is cut my fabric. Now, for the top, I cut around 18 inches long by 3 inches wide. Now, this is probably going to give you a little bit extra, but that's good, because if you need to just trim some off, it's easy enough to do. Better to have too much than too little. So I went ahead and I cut that out. Now this is going to be the piece that's going to fit around the top of the clay pot. By the way, this clay pot is 6 inches across. It's a 6-inch pot, and it's at the bottom of the pot, it's 3 inches. So we are going to have to be doing some gathering to get that fabric to go around that pot, but I figured it out, and I'm going to show you how I did it. This is the first time I've ever covered a clay pot, and I have to tell you, I had so much fun. It was very messy with the Mod Podge, and I just absolutely loved it. I'm not sure why, but I guess I just love I just love the whole process of doing this. This was so much fun. I love picking out the fabrics. Now for this one, I'm going to use a small polka dot for the top rim of the pot, and then I'm using another floral a print that also has polka dots and little daisies on it. This turned out so cute. So for that bottom piece, I cut out 18 inches long, and that one I cut out about 8 inches wide. So the top piece was 3 inches wide, the bottom piece was 8 inches wide, both of them were 18 inches long. I'll put that in the description box. First thing I'm going to do is cover the rim of my pot. Now, one thing I didn't mention yet is after I cut out my fabrics, I pressed them. I ironed them. Okay, that's, to me, is a very big deal to start out your projects. I think it was, ingrained in me when I was in middle school and I took sewing class. Whenever you do a project, you always press your fabric and make sure it's nice and smooth before you get started. And I realize I'm not sewing, but I think it is a great practice to get into. So, enough about ironing. I'm wrapping my piece around, as you can see. Now, notice that I have excess on the top. That's because I'm going to wrap it around the top of that rim and down into the inside. So I laid it down so that I could press it to the clay pot for about 1/4 of an inch below the rim. So this will enable me to push that fabric into that little groove underneath the rim of the pot. Now, like I said, this is messy. I did a lot of smoothing and pressing with my fingers once I got the Mod Podge on there. But I just love doing that. Yeah, like I mentioned, I don't know what it is, but I just loved this process. So, so no big deal. You just wash your hands after you're done. No big deal. Okay, so I'm bringing it all the way around. Now, you know that when you use Mod Podge with fabric, you'll be able to see it seep through the fibers of the fabric. That's fine. The beauty of Mod Podge, I love Mod Podge, okay? The beauty of it is that it dries clear and it helps you to accomplish what you need to accomplish in crafting. Love, love Mod Podge. Okay, so you can see I've gone all the way around the rim of the pot. You can see how much time I spend taking my finger and pressing it down to make sure everything is adhering. Now, another beautiful thing about Mod Podge is it dries pretty quickly. So you're able to really, get your fabric to stick down into that Mod Podge. All right, see how I have it standing up there? Now I'm going to go about pressing it onto the inside of the pot. This is going to create a very nice finish for the top of the pot, but also a nice finish because often you can see the inner rim of a pot when you have a plant in there. And I thought this would look really nice to have that all finished. So you can see I'm just folding that over. I put my Mod Podge on the inside. I do, a section at a time, just pressing it down right like that. Now, I am going to do a further finishing of the inside. Now, these, my particular pots are gifts. So whenever I give a gift, I always really go the extra mile, if you will, to finish it off very nicely. So I went around and just made sure everything was all pressed down. And now I'm going to further add a little bit of Mod Podge to make sure everything is all sealed. Now I am going to put some rickrack around that edge on the inside. You'll see me do that later. But this piece is very, very finished. And you'll see what I mean by that as we go along here. So you can see I'm using my sponge applicator to help me get my Mod Podge on there. I just like to squirt my Mod Podge on a paper plate and just dab my applicator into there. Again, just going over it. You know, as the Mod Podge dries, it's a good idea to just kind of run your fingers along the areas that you want to be sure is, you know, sealed. And that's what I'm doing right there. And now I'm doing the same thing I did on the outer rim on the inside. Now this process goes really, really fast. And I want to show you how I did this bottom. But then I'm going to show you, actually I'm going to show you twice how I did the bottom. Only because it's a little bit trickier, but certainly not difficult. Okay, that piece that you cut 18 inches long by 8 inches wide, when you iron it, I'm going to suggest that you fold over just about 1/4 inch and press that down. This is going to give you a very finished edge to apply to your pot. Right there at the seam. Now, you don't have to do this part, but I really think it helps to, give a nice finished edge. If you fold it under, then you have a very nice finished edge. So I'm going to first begin by just attaching that piece all the way around right at the base of the rim of the pot. As you see, I'm doing right there. Just a nice generous amount of Mod Podge. Do one section at a time. That's what works best. And I really pull my fabric from the bottom, and then I pull it as I go along, making sure that I have it nice and straight and adhered nice and smoothly underneath that rim. Now, a clay pot is 6 inches wide on the top and 3 inches wide on the bottom. So that means that we are going to have to either gather the fabric as you go down the pot or cut slits. Now I'm going to show you both ways. The way that I decided was the best way was cutting slits, but I'm going to show you both here right now, and you could choose which one you want to do. So once I get that all the way around, then I'm going to start working my way down the pot. And here we have it upside down. Now I found this was the best way to work with this pot, and you can see we're going to have all that excess material because the bottom of our pot, again, is only 3 inches. So any extra fabric that you think you have on the top there. Now we're going to be folding that fabric over the bottom of the pot. So you're going to want to leave about 1.5 inches of fabric that you'll be able, just like that, to fold over. So don't cut off too much. And I'm going to show you how I even finished the bottom of those pots. Okay, now, if you want to try and just, without cutting slits, to bring this fabric to lay flush or adhered smoothly on your pot, you can do it by adding little tiny gathers all the way around the pot. Now, I came to realize that this, I felt personally was, not as easy as cutting slits. But I'm showing you because it's very doable. So you go in small sections, just do a little tiny bit of a fold, just very, very small. And then use your fingers. Really, you're going to get messy, but that's okay. It washes right off. So I just keep placing the Mod Podge on there. That really helps to put it on the top of the fabric as well as underneath. And then I just keep working my fingers over the fabric to press down any of those folds. Now you want them to be very, very minimal in size. So you're basically creating a lot of tiny folds as you go down, as you progress down the length of that clay pot. Now, if you don't want to go to the method of cutting slits, this is the way that you can do it. So all you have to do is just kind of pull your fabric away, pop your sponge applicator down in there, get some Mod Podge on there, put some on the top as well, and just really use your fingers to press that out. Now you can see my little folds there. Now, like I said, this does work. But if I had to choose one method over another, I would choose to do the slits, and I am going to show you that with this pot, and then I do another pot, and I'm just going to review it. Okay, just so you're sure, because I think this is easy, but if there were any tricky aspects of creating this project, it would be just getting that fabric on that clay pot because of the size difference of where you're adhering that fabric. So just keep working your fingers, pressing down any of the little folds. Now you could disguise them really, really well by using your Mod Podge, using your fingers, and don't worry if you see any little folds. Honestly, it just doesn't really matter on this piece. And that's why I say use a busy fabric. Use something with a small print and a busy print, like florals, like polka dots, like anything with a busy print. I used another fabric that looks like kind of like it's under the ocean. You'll see that here in a little bit. I'll tell you about that project. That one came out really super cute. Okay, so what I'm doing here, I decided I was going to try something else too while I was doing this, because like I said, I'm always flying by the seat of my crafting pants and figuring things out as I go along, but that brings me joy. So I decided to start cutting slits, and this enabled me to just kind of, rather than create little tiny folds, I went about every inch or so and I cut a slit. And I cut the slit up as far as about 1¼ inches below the rim. So I didn't cut the slit all the way to the top of the rim. I stopped about 1½ inches or 1¼ inches below. And then I just lift my fabric, put Mod Podge underneath it, and I just continued to lay that fabric down. Now, I found that this gave me a little bit smoother of an application than the little folds. So that's why I say I think I would go with this one. If I were to do this project again, I would go with the slits. You're going to need a nice sharp pair of scissors, okay? Can't be cutting fabric with dull scissors, especially, in this project. So now watch. See how I'm cutting slits. Now those I didn't cut as high, but you're going to see that I figured out if you take the slit, you cut the slit up to about 1.5 inches, again, to 1.25 inches. Cut it that high, and then just lift your fabric. Place your fabric down over your Mod Podge and use your fingers to smooth it out. Now remember, you can put your Mod Podge on top and you can put it underneath. Put your Mod Podge down and you press one down, and then you just layer the next one a little bit over the top of it. This enables you to compensate for the slanting of the pot as it progresses down. Okay, so you get the idea here. And this just turns out so pretty. And honestly, you're not going to be able to tell where you created those slits or where you created the folds, because if you smooth everything out with your fingertips, you'll be fine. Now I'm going to cut little slits in the top. Now you can see that my fabric is folded over on it to the bottom of my piece about 1.25 inches. So I just cut some slits, and then I'm just going to put some Mod Podge on there. And I'm going to fold that over and make sure it's nice and neat and folded over. Everything all pressed down with my Mod Podge. Now you're going to see later that I created some felt circle pads, if you will, for the bottom of my pots. It was a really nice finishing touch, and so the bottom is going to have this nice soft felt pad on the bottom. Super cute. Everything all sealed down with my fingertips. And I'm letting you know, sticky. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm doing a kind of a turtle ocean theme for someone for Mother's Day. It's her very much one of her favorite things. She loves turtles, and we live near the ocean, and we have loggerhead turtles that come ashore and lay their eggs, and we have a turtle sanctuary here that treats the turtles that are injured, and then they have these turtle releases where they release them back into the ocean, and it's just really beautiful. But anyway, she loves the sea turtles. So I'm doing this, and I got this fabric at Dollar Tree last year. And I said, oh my God, one of these days I'm going to use that fabric. And I just found the perfect thing to use it for. So I am doing an ocean kind of turtle theme clay pot here. And that's what I meant about personalizing. Choose the colors, that your recipient would love. Choose a theme. Yeah, you can have a lot of fun with this. Okay, so I cut my slits. Do you see how I went up to about 1.25 inches there at the top? Smooth it out. Yeah, I really decided that was the method that I like best. See how easy that is? Take my Mod Podge, put it over the top, and I did the whole thing very quickly using that method. Just cutting my slits and smoothing it out. Now, of course, I have this sped up here, but honestly, I did it pretty quickly. This is the most time-consuming part of the project. Otherwise, yeah, really easy. Quick and easy. And inexpensive. I mentioned that at the intro. A clay pot, a little bit of fabric, a little bit of ribbon or a trim, and a small plant, and an inner plant to put up, a container, a plant container to pop down in the inside, and you have a very cute gift. I'll show you how I embellish mine. See how easy this is? This turned out really pretty. I put a royal blue bow on it. Oh, it was so pretty. I'm sure you noticed that on the intro, but yeah, really, really pretty. Now for the rim, I used another fabric. You can see it's different there, but I like the idea of using a different fabric for the rim. Up to you, you can use the same. I did do another one where I used the one fabric for the whole entire pot. But for these two that you just saw, I used two different fabrics. I think it's a nice idea to use two. But you do you. Sometimes you could pick up rolls of fabric at the Dollar Tree. Now, I also picked up another fabric at the same time, and it actually has turtles on it. And I cut out two of them, and you're going to see me here in a little bit. I'm going to Mod Podge the turtles onto that fabric there with the blue coral. Okay, this is the one that I did all one fabric, but look at it. Oh, it's so cute. So I did that exactly the same way, all the way down to the bottom. And there's my red one with the polka dots. Love this one. Like I said, all three of these are gifts, actually Mother's Day gifts. And that one turned out super pretty as well. Love it. You'll see me put the turtles on later. Okay, so now I believe what we're going to do is put the rickrack on, because I wanted this finished. Like, you know, when you take the pot out, which I'm gonna suggest to whomever I give these to remove that inner pot when you water it, and then just pop it back down in there afterward. But I just wanted it finished. I didn't want any of those raw fabric edges to be seen. So I'm just going to take Aleene's Tacky Glue and some rickrack. I love rickrack. And I'm just going to put that all around the edge of my fabric. How easy is that? And that way the inside's finished. And I did that same thing on all three of my pieces. And here you have it. See how much nicer that looks? I did spray the inside of my pots, not terrifically, actually, but the reason why I sprayed them is I was not sure if, you know, my fabric would look, how it would look on the clay color. So I decided to go ahead and spray mine, but they didn't have to be perfectly sprayed, just a good amount. Okay, so now I want to dress up underneath the rim on all three of my pieces. Now I have this very tiny rickrack. By the way, my rickracks came from Hobby Lobby. I always pick those up on the week that they're 40% off. I have a couple of ladybugs there. Yes, this pot is going to get ladybugs. It's going to be so cute. But first things first, I'm going to go ahead and I always start my rickrack at the same place where my seams are on my piece. So I'm just going to take my Aleene's Tacky Glue, run a fine stream of glue right there between the rim and the body of the pot. And I'm just going to go and put my rickrack down. Press it right into the glue. Make sure it's nice and straight, all up in that little nook there. Now, these little fine trims that I'm putting on, these little finishing touches, they really make a difference. I always say that, but it's true. They really make a difference. And this is always my favorite part, is those little embellishment trims. Now I have this really pretty lace with flowers on it. Actually, pretty much the shape of the flowers that's in the fabric. So it's a white lace. I got it at Walmart. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to wrap that lace around, and that's going to be my trim for my pink flower pot. Now, I did put the narrow rickrack on my ocean-themed pot as well. There's my turtles. Yes, I cut those out of fabric with some sharp scissors. I'm going to put 2 of them on there. One to pick up each of the pretty colors on there, the blue and that kind of pretty aqua-ish color. It's really, really pretty. So I'm going to pump my turtles on there. This is going to be a super cute touch on this piece. Now, you could do this with any fabric. If you had a fabric that had some type of design or something that you wanted to do the same type of thing and put it on, it onto another fabric on your pot, you could do that. Just cut it out with your scissors, put Mod Podge on the back like I am doing here, and then just place it on your pot. Now I'm going to tilt my turtles when I place them on. One's going to be swimming upward and the other one's going to be swimming downward. Now I did establish where the front of my pot is by locating the seam. I always like to have a front side to most of my pieces that I do. So now I'm just tapping my finger to get my turtle on there. Look how cute. And it goes so beautiful with that fabric that's on the pot. I got this during the period of time at Dollar Tree when they have the coastal decor items out. And then I'm just going to take my Mod Podge and my sponge applicator and just seal that on there. And that's that. And then I'm going to do the other one. I didn't film that. Not necessary. You see how I did that? Now, this clay pot sure has taken on a new look, wouldn't you say? Just with a little bit of fabric. Oh, man, I just love crafting. It is such a joy to transform something. And I just hope that you see that while you watch my tutorials. Like how much joy you can have, especially in creating gifts, but just the joy of transforming something. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I have some of these 3-inch round wood circles, wood pieces. So I'm going to use that as my pattern, and I'm going to cut out 3 pieces of white felt. I'm just going to take a pencil, trace around that circle, cut it out, and that's going to finish the bottom of my pots very, very nicely. I have everything all cut out, and now I'm just going to place some Alien Sticky Glue around the outer perimeter of my circle of felt, and I'm just going to glue it right down to the bottom. Again, you can see another reason why you would not want to use this pot to put your plant in, be watering it and all that. That would just not be good for all of this fabric and trims that you're putting on the piece. Now you have a nice smooth bottom for your pots. I'm doing that for all 3. Okay, now because they're gifts, I am going to be placing a bow on each of these. Now I have a pretty red satin here. I'm going to do a figure 8 bow. I recently posted a tutorial for creating my small bows very recently. If you want to look at that, you'll be able to see in detail how I create my figure 8 bows. But I simply just fold the ribbon under, fold it over, fold it under, fold it over, etc. until I've created 3 loops on each side, or 6 loops altogether. I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail around 8 inches. And I'm going to take just a piece of 26 gauge floral wire, wrap it around. I'm going to pull it super tight so it scrunches up that ribbon in the center, gathers it up, twist it nice and tight. Now I'm going to put an embellishment in the center of this bow. I happen to have some little white daisies that I'm going to place in the center of that bow that corresponds or coordinates with that cute fabric on my pot. I'm just going to angle my tails on there. I'm going to be trimming that wire down on the back because I'm going to be hot gluing that to a skewer, as in the skewer that you purchase in the kitchen department at Dollar Tree, that kind of skewer. There's my little white flower, little plastic flowers. I think they'd gotten those, I'm not sure. Maybe it was on Amazon. I have a lot of little embellishments that I keep on hand. A lot of them I get from the Paper Mart section at Hobby Lobby, but I also get them from, Amazon, different places. So I'm going to take some Aleene's Tacky Glue, put that dab of that glue right in the center, and put my little daisy on there. And that's so cute to coordinate with my fabric. I'm going to take a little clip from the Dollar Tree and let that sit off to the side to dry while I prepare my other 2 bows. Now, this is a gorgeous Robert Stanley blue satin ribbon. Oh my goodness, the color. It is wired. It's a very narrow ribbon. I believe it's 7/8 inch, but it's wired. So I'm going to create this bow with my fold over and twist method because it's wired. I'm going to be able to do that. I have another bow tutorial that shows how I do this type of bow. Posted, I want to say about a week or so ago. A couple of weeks ago. You might want to check that out if you want to learn how to make bows like this. I'm going to create a 6-loop bow with 3 loops on each side. I'm going to take a little bit of floral wire, wrap it around the center, pull it super tight, and twist. Now for the center of this bow, being that this is an ocean theme gift or pot, I'm going to put a little white seashell in the center. You could have gone with a little baby starfish or a little baby sand dollar, anything like that. I just happen to have this little white scallop shell. I'm going to put a little bit of tacky glue on the back of that. And I'm going to take my clip and hold that on there and let that sit off to the side to dry. And then I have one more, which is this gorgeous pink satin ribbon. It's a very narrow ribbon. It's just so beautiful. It's a Celebrate ribbon from Michaels. And I'm going to create a 6-loop bow with 3 loops on each side. This was a figure 8, so it's folding over, under, over, under. Again, check out the tutorials. And then I'm going to leave little tails on there. I'm going to take a piece of floral wire, wrap it around, pull it super tight to scrunch it up. And for the center of this one, I happen to have these really cute little spring flowers that I got in a package in the spring department at Hobby Lobby. And those flowers happen to be the same color, but also have a blue center, exactly like the flowers on that fabric. How lucky was that? What a match that was. So I'm going to take some tacky glue and do the same. Okay, I'm outside now, and I put all of my plants. I chose this ivy. I got it at Home Depot, actually in one of those like multi-packs where you get like 12 little small plants, and I popped them all into my little planters, and now everything is ready to go, and it's ready to be inserted into the pots. Now I'm going to turn over my bows now. And I have these skewers. I think I picked these up at Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to take hot glue and put a little bit of hot glue on the end, about 1 inch of hot glue, maybe less. And then I'm just going to press it to the back of the bow, making sure that the stick does not poke up over the top of the bow. This is how I'm going to insert my bow into my planter. I'm going to go ahead and attach the skewers to all 3 bows. Okay. Now, I'm going to be doing one more thing after I place the little pots with the plants inside of the pots. I'm going to show you, I have a really good idea to really finish the piece, finish the plant inside the pot. But first I have to finish this task here, gluing those to the back of the bows. And then those will be all ready to go. Okay, so I picked up this green Excelsior. It's from Hobby Lobby. And I had this idea to place some of this Excelsior in the area. See the area between the pot and the clay pot? And this just was the most awesome finishing touch to this. So I just pulled out some pieces and I kind of, placed it right in that little groove there. And oh, that looks so cute with those little scraggly pieces of that Excelsior poking up. Now, if the recipient wants to keep that Excelsior, that won't be any problem. When you pull out the pot, the Excelsior will come out right with it, and you could just stick it right back in. But I'm going to advocate to whomever receives these to pull that pot out to water. Dump off the excess out of the drip tray, and then pop it back in there. I put 2 little ladybugs on that piece. I put one on the rim of the pot, and then another one on the body of the pot. And that was such a cute addition. So now I'm just going about trimming up any of those little crazy Excelsior pieces that are poking up there. And we are just about done here. Just have to pop in those bows. And it's as easy as that. Okay, so enough trimming. I think we're just about done here. Okay, now all I have to do is pop my bows in, which I did there. Popped my red one in, made sure that my couple little ladybugs showed there. And that's my red one. Now for this one, I identify the front or the best side of the arrangement, and then I'm going to place my bow accordingly. I'm just going to pop it right down into the dirt of the inner pot. If I need to trim any of the dowel off, it's easy enough to just use wire cutters for that. And now I have my pink bow in, and then I just have to do the blue. And my pieces are all finished. Now, I hope you are thinking about how you could create yours, what kind of fabric that you would use. Maybe you have a lot of scrap fabric in your craft stash that you could do. 1 or 2 or 3 or however many of these. You could pick up the clay pots at Walmart, very inexpensive, and the plastic pot inserts, same thing. I got those at Walmart as well. Maybe you could even pick up the little pieces of fabric at Walmart or even at the Dollar Tree. And you could pick up a plant while you're there as well. I think I got my plants at Home Depot, but yeah, you could get them at Walmart. Okay, there's my ocean theme gift. Isn't it so pretty? I am in love with these gifts. Tell me what you think. And which one is your favorite? And let me know if you think you might create these for a gift or even maybe for your home. I just think they're so adorable to have, I might even make one for me. I just might do that because I just love them. And they were so much fun. Did I mention how much fun they were to make? They are. Okay, remember to subscribe if you are not currently. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the tutorial. And of course, I always love receiving your comments. Until next time, you all take care.